Hello everybody and welcome back for some more TEW 2016. We are officially on the 10th episode and I am pretty excited for that. I definitely plan on continuing with more episodes of the series, so I just wanted to thank everybody for all the love you guys have been showing this series, and it only took me like 5 tries to get that out properly for some reason. But yeah, also too, I know some people are asking where some other games are, because I had some Sims going at some point, and to keep a long story short, I am going to be doing other Let's Plays pretty soon. The gaming computer is kind of down at the moment. We're upgrading it to a different tower, but we had to order some different wires, so it's gonna still be a little bit more before I get it back up and running. Or I should say my partner, because I don't really know how to work on the computers. So yeah, thank you for your patience, and I'll have some other stuff up soon. But anyway, before we start our card, if you could drop me a sub and a like, I would definitely appreciate it. It helps out the channel and it helps out the video. So let's go ahead and run Raw. So in our first pre-show match, we always have our pre-show before our main show, obviously. I don't even know why I pointed that out. But I ended up throwing Natty in a match with Trish Stratus. Trish obviously got her win. There's a reason why I put Trish in the pre-show rather than the main show, which she should be happy because she finally got her win, but looks like Natty did not too bad for the women's division, so I might have to call her up at some point. And then in our next pre-show match, did pretty horrible. I had Christopher Nowinski face off against Red Dog, aka Rodney Mack. Rodney Mack's definitely not ready to be brought up quite yet, so I will have to leave him in developmental for a little while longer. I'm pretty sure at this point he was already brought up in real life, but I'm gonna leave him in developmental for now. Then in our final pre-show match, we have Tommy Dreamer and Rhino facing off against 3 Minute Warning. Basically, it's Team ECW. Tommy Dreamer and Rhino picked up the victory. I think, to be honest, this is the first time that I actually had Tommy Dreamer on the main show, even though it is a pre-show match. I didn't intentionally mean to leave him off, but things happen, and hopefully I can try to get him on the show more. Rhino definitely carried the match. We're continuing to push Rhino, so this will give him another victory. Then to open our main show, we have a freestyle angle. I pretty much did a show opener thingy because I couldn't think of anything creative to open the show with. It's a 8-minute show opening, but you know, it happens. Got us an 85 rating though, so I'm happy with that. Then in our first match, we had Victoria face off against Molly Holly. I ended up finally putting the woman in a rivalry for the women's champion. Molly Holly ended up picking up the victory. She needed some momentum on her side, so I figured this would be a good way to do that. And it looks like what I planned on doing with Molly Holly might not work quite yet. Let's see in the next segment. So now we had Jazz come out. She is returning. I didn't even realize she was supposed to return until it was telling me that I needed to assign her. So she came out and attacked Molly Holly. Pretty sure when she came back, she either attacked Victoria or Molly Holly, but that's when she started the bitch is back. And I think this is actually going to work, but it might not go over too well. So we're supposed to change Molly Holly to a face. I don't know if I'm gonna do it because we need more faces, but I have a feeling it's gonna go over pretty badly, which actually I forgot to assign her a new gimmick. So let's go ahead, complete the turn. And it went pretty well, so that's pretty good because it was looking like it wasn't gonna go good, but at least it went pretty good. And it should make Molly Holly happy because in real life she never wanted to actually be a heel. Then we have a backstage segment, if I could say that right, with Edge. No, this is Test and Stacy Keibler. I don't know why I'm so off tonight. But pretty much, yeah, she's just flirting with Test. I don't know if we're gonna actually do the whole, because this was when the Test Stacy angle went on. I don't want to say what it was named because YouTube probably won't like it too much, but if you guys want me to do this angle, let me know. Figured I would test it out. but it got a 66, so that's alright. And then in our next match, we had Christian face off against Goldust. Christian ends up picking up the win. He had the help of Chris Jericho, so definitely not Christian doing it on his own, but he did an 80, so that's always pretty good. Then we have an angle with Shawn Michaels and Evolution. Pretty much Batista and Randy Orton approached Shawn Michaels. They were ready to attack him, but he did the sweet chin music to both of them, and then as he runs off, Ric Flair comes back. Pretty upset because he finds both Randy Orton and Batista just laying on the ground hurt. And then in the next match, we have Rob Van Dam facing off against Val Venus. Did a pretty good 81 right there. Definitely needed to get the win for Rob Van Dam because his momentum was pretty bad. So this should hopefully bring him back to neutral. At least, oh, that's right. I forgot. We are supposed to turn Val Venus. So let's go ahead and handle that pretty quickly. It's just a gimmick. So it looks like it got above average, which since it's Val Venus, it makes sense that I got above average. And then after that match, Kane comes out and attacks Rob Van Dam. It's kind of unknown at the moment why Kane would have did this, because not too long ago, these two were in a tag team and they were friends. And because this happened, we now have to change Kane into a heel. And it looks like the turn was a complete success, so that makes me happy because we needed more heel main eventers, so the fact that that went really good and we have Kane as a heel now, I am happy with that. Next we have a segment backstage. Ric Flair, he's still pissed off that Shawn Michaels attacked Randy Orton and Batista, so he ran to Eric Bischoff and he wants a match with Shawn Michaels, and Eric Bischoff gave him the match, so later on Shawn Michaels is going to be facing off against Ric Flair. Then we have a 3-on-3 tag team match between our current champions and Spike Dudley, and they're facing off against William Regal, Lance Storm, and Big Boss Man. Big Boss Man recently wanted to be called back up to the main roster, so I figured I'd throw him in a match, especially because he's kind of upset with us right now because I didn't bring him up fast enough. And then these guys needed the momentum, or the whatever you want to call it, so I ended up throwing the win to Lance Storm, William Regal, and Boss Man. Then we have an angle with Steve Austin. I should have probably did this at the end of the show, but this seemed like an okay place to fit it in, but he also came back from injury as well as Jazz, so I gave him the microphone. He came out. Everybody is happy that Steve Austin is back. Then we have our IC title match between Chris Jericho and Booker T. Chris Jericho ends up picking up the win, and he ended up getting help from Christian, so it looks like they had a deal together to help each other win their matches. This is kind of interesting that it says that Booker T and Chris Jericho don't seem to click, and it made for an awkward bout, so we may have to change up our rivalry a little bit, because my original plan was to have Booker T and Chris Jericho rival for the Intercontinental Champion, but since they don't seem to click too well, we're probably gonna have to have somebody else involved in this. Then we have just a quick shot of Shawn Michaels getting ready backstage. They're hyping him up for the main event. And then we have the main event with Ric Flair facing off against Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels picks up the win, but as Shawn Michaels is celebrating his win, he gets brutally attacked by everybody in Evolution, and that's how we end the show. So let's see how this show did. I'm thinking this is going to be a really good show, because I've seen a lot of high numbers. Got an 83, so I'm happy with that. I'm pretty sure that is our best show to date, so definitely, hopefully I can keep growing the shows from here. It looks like we got, hopefully that's a signing, so let's go ahead and jump to the GM office. I forgot to, we had some emails that I didn't delete from before. It looks like Vampire Warrior, aka Gangrel, is now ready to join the roster. Then we got emails about Steve Austin and Jazz returning. Then Bob Holly had a body change. Once in a while, they just send random emails that say things like that. They told us that B Squared is gone, which he hurt Crash Holly before he left. Raw got a good TV rating, and then they still don't like William Regal or Val Venus. Heat didn't really get a good rating. Heat never really gets a good rating, but it actually got the best rating since like I started this series, ironically. So let's go ahead and see who we might be able to sign. Incident involving Andrew Test Martin. That is not good. So let's see what happened. Test has been identified as a hard drug user by the WWE drug testing policy. So it looks like we're not gonna go ahead with the whole Test Stacy thing because we're going to have to suspend Test for a little while. And it looks like he improved his behavior and he is very happy about it, and alright, at least good. So he's not mad at us for suspending him, because sometimes like a bunch of people get pissed off at you when you suspend them, and it's like, it's just what I gotta do in order to run the locker room and all of that. So quickly, before I end the episode, let's go ahead and I will show you the Heat results, which I didn't really do much, just a quick few matches with Jacqueline and Ivory, Stevie Richards and Johnny Stamboli, and then Test and Raven. So that's going to be all for this episode. Thank you again for all the love you guys have been showing this series. I try to respond to as many comments as I can. Not that I really get a whole lot, but there's some that I just don't know how to respond, so I'll just leave a like or a heart. But yeah, if you haven't already, leave me a like, drop a sub, comment on the video, and I hope you guys have a really good day or night or whatever time it is where you're at. Bye.